passer rating. He had 2 touchdowns, 27 sack yards, and why didn't that sack? Oh yeah, I didn't take it out on this page. Take the sack yards out. 2 touchdowns, 29.3 first percentages, 520 yard passes, 140 yard pass. He had 0 interceptions, 3 sacks, 27 sack yards. And he had a quarterback rating of 88.4. And we also see that Andy Dalton was in the top 10 pass. He was a top 10 passing leader, and he was a top 10 quarterback in touchdowns. I did not know that. Andy Dalton definitely had a better season than what I had predicted or what I would have suggested. Let's go down. Let's go back. Let's look at I don't know. Let's look at DeAndre Hopkins. So Jalen Hurts had an 89. What I was really trying to find, as I built this report out before, we found that some quarterbacks had higher quarterback ratings than some of the quarterbacks that were in the top 10, and there was a lot of discussion as to why it wasn't fair for a quarterback to have a higher passer rating than a quarterback that wasn't in the top 10. And basically, that's what data analytics is. It allows you to make determinations as to does the data really make sense, or it allows you to predict or suggest other options as to how you're going to determine if one particular statistic is better than the other one or if it should be adjusted. And what we realized is, looking at the quarterback rating, when one quarterback had a higher rating than a quarterback that was in the top 10 as a top 10 quarterback, passer or touchdown or any other analytics that you may want to choose, was then we had to create filters. And that's another thing that we're able to do with Power BI. We're able to create filters so that, for instance, with the quarterback, we could say, hey, we're only going to measure the quarterback ratings only for those who have a minimum of 2,000 yards passing. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's how we can filter out data, whether it be quarterbacks or whether it be millions of dollars when using Power BI. So that's Power BI. That's what Power BI is. Power of the BIs, that's what we do, right? So here's the deal. I mean, what we're here for, we're here to understand how we can make money in this industry. Can we really make the kind of money we're talking about making? The answer to that is yes. How much money what's the minimum amount do I think you should be able to come out of this course making within the next 4 months? $95,000. The maximum amount of money that I think you should probably ask for, $110,000. Now, do I understand that, there are situations to where, you may need to take a little bit less if that's what they're offering because that's the kind of situation you may be in right now? Yes, totally understand. Been there, done that, right? Are you going to be offered sometimes more money? Yes. Can you ask for more money? Yes. But I'll be honest, when you start playing in the $115,000, $120,000 range, expectations could be a little bit higher of you, and you may need to move a little faster. I'm not going to tell you not to take the money because been there, done that. So that's just to give you an idea. $45 an hour to $55 an hour is the ballpark range that I think you should be playing in. $95,000 to $110,000 a year. Now, are all the jobs going to be full-time jobs? Are they going to be guaranteed off the rip? No. To be honest, the initial jobs are probably going to be contract jobs. They'll probably say contract to hire. It may be. They could say contract to hire. They could tell you what that contract is to hire, or they could just say contract to hire. Let me say that a different way. Contract to hire could be, they may say, 30 days to contract to hire. Basically, they're interviewing you on the job and you're interviewing them on the job for 30 days, and then they'll come back and either provide you with an offer or say, hey, let's extend the time of the contract, we want to see a little bit more. Or you can say, hey, I don't really want to go into a contract. I don't want to go into a full-time job. I want to keep the contract. It could be 30 days. A lot of times the minimum contract to hire is a 90-day contract, which is 3 months. So, again, you're interviewing them for 3 months and they're interviewing you for 3 months. You're seeing if you really want to work for the company, and they're seeing if they really want to hire you long term. Could be 6 months to hire, right? And same scenario. Another form of getting an opportunity would be they could just say they're going to do a short-term contract. It's not going to be contract to hire, it's going to be a short-term contract. It could be a 90-day contract, it could be a 180-day contract. Now, to be honest, they may try to throw a 30-day contract out at you every now and then. I don't even talk to guys about 30-day contracts. The minimum I would do is a 90-day contract, short-term, and a 180-day contract to me really is a pretty long contract, right? Relatively speaking. So 90 days is the minimum I would normally do a short-term contract. 180 days, which is 6 months, I'm okay with that. I have had opportunities, excuse me, and have worked on projects to where it was a 1-year contract. So, that is what it is. Now, here's the thing about contracts. If you have a contract, typically they have overextended the contract, which means if it's a 90-day contract, probably at that 60-day mark, I would start looking for a job, right? Or at the 45-day mark, I would start looking for another job, because they may be trying to cut that contract at the 60-day mark. Or, they may be trying to cut it somewhere between the 60 and the 90, so it doesn't really go a full 90. So here's the deal. These are not NBA contracts. This doesn't mean that you get a contract and it's guaranteed for 90 days. No. If it's a 180-day contract, typically at the 4-month mark, I start looking for a job, right? I start looking for something else. Or they may submit you another piece of paper to extend the offer, extend the contract to go from 180 to go to a 9-month contract, or go to a 1-year contract, or even give you a full-time deal. But I don't consider anything locked in until somebody tells me that it's full-time. And to be honest, even a full-time contract, it really means nothing to me, because, in most states in the United States, they can, fire you at cause, right? So I don't trust anybody when it comes to a contract or when it comes to a job. I look at every job as a contract, right? Because just because it's a full-time job and you're getting insurance and you're getting benefits and you got a 401k plan, the company can fire you at cause, right? So I'm like, how much does it pay an hour, and how do I benefit, right? It's got to be a win-win. I know the company is winning because they're getting me, but how am I going to win? If it's a 1-year contract at the 9-month mark, I'm looking for a new job. Not to say that I'm going to jump ship at the 9-month mark, and even on the 6-month contract, not to say that I'm going to jump ship at the 4-month mark, is that I have a process that I start looking for another opportunity. And if I have a full-time gig, my resume is always out. It's always out on LinkedIn. It's always out on other platforms, right? Because again, I understand that the company can fire me at cause. And it's not just this industry, it's any industry can fire you at cause. So I'm always looking out for number one, and number one is who? Moi. Correct. So that's what the jobs look like. As far as locations and stuff like that, 2024, you can work anywhere, right? So one ideal location of working is on-prem or on-premise, on location, going into the office every day, right? Since COVID, some jobs you don't have to do that, and definitely in tech, you can find jobs to where you can, if you want to work on site, you can, but if you don't want to work on site, you don't have to. that leads me into number 2, which is hybrid. You can work on location a couple of days a week. You can work from home or remote a couple of days a week. Whether you're at home or not, it really doesn't matter.